Hey all, welcome to the lesson challenge for lesson three of the Coding to Victory curriculum. Today we're going to be going over a checkerboard challenge with HTML and CSS. I do have some code snippets here that you could copy over. Essentially, we're going to be moving this code snippet below to the body of the code snippet above. Or you could start from scratch if you prefer, but just wanted to give a quick walkthrough of kind of how we're going to approach this problem. So the first step is just kind of noticing that this, whole container here is what we're going to call our grid. And then within that grid, we have boxes. So we have a white box and a black box, and it looks like it proceeds, down the row. So the other thing that we have to add is like a row, right? So we have a row here, and then our second row below that is starts off with a black box instead of a white box, and then alternates for the rest of the row, and then we follow that pattern. So it goes white, black, white, black, white, black. Kind of alternates down to the bottom as well. So we want to think about how we're going to accomplish that. There's a few ways to go about this. I do mention that you could use the pseudo class child, which might be a little bit more of an effective approach, but do just want to show how to accomplish this with some just generic CSS and HTML with a very basic example, but feel free to explore other solutions as well. So the first step we're going to do is just copy over the code to our code sandbox, which I already did. And then as I mentioned here, we do have a grid and a box. So within the grid and the box, I'm just going to go ahead and copy one more of these and paste it over. So as I mentioned, with the box, we can have a white box. So I'm going to create another class that I have to create in the back end, and then a black box, right? And I could follow that same pattern here and do that about four more times, right? Um, and then so that should be able to get me my row, but I do want to create a class here with another div that has a class of row, and then we can repeat that there. And yeah, I'm just gonna copy this one and our next row. The only thing that's gonna change, as I mentioned, is the black box should be the one that it starts with and it ends with a white, and it's gonna alternate like that. So one thing I like to do is be able to click these here and just copy these, and I should be able to copy that three more times essentially, right? Two and three, and that should give me the layout. I haven't did any CSS. That's going to be the next step, but just wanted to see kind of what we have here is, our grid, and then we have rows within our grid, and they have, alternating black and white boxes. So this looks like a setup that we could have. That can work. So let's try it out. So the first thing that we want to do is size our box, right? So we want to select the box class and just say that it's going to have a width of 25 pixels. And we could change this if we wanted to, and a height of 25 pixels, right? And then we want to create those other classes of, black, which will have our background color of black, and another one that is going to have white and our background color of white. So the problem that we're facing here is like they're all stacking up against each other. Um, we're going to address that with our row class. And we created a row, and then we're going to say that within those rows, the boxes should float left, right? So what this is doing is just saying that, all right, once we get, the row should float to the left once we get to the end of it. There isn't no more spaces. It should drop and click to the drop down to the next row. So it looks like we get the effect that we want. And the checkerboard challenge is almost complete. The other thing that we want to do is kind of center it. So right now it's on the top left of our board, and this is just another, I don't know, cool thing that we could do here, but we're gonna give it a width. We'll just say 280 pixels. We could change this as well. So that looks like it's the width of our grid. And then we could say that we want the position to be absolute. And that means that it's just going to be always like this position. It's going to be relative to the viewport. And I'm just going to say 50%. Oops. So it should be able to take up 50% of the screen, and then same thing, 50% to get us like in the center is what we're after here. And then the other thing that we have to use is the transform property so that it's going to adjust according to how the user interacts with the screen. So I'm just going to say negative 50% for these instances and negative 50% again as well. So we should have something like this, and it looks like it is now like, going towards the center of the screen, which is what we're after here. So yeah, hope you like this example. There are other ways to approach this as well. This is just one of them, but thought I'd share.